Yeah, hi there, Victor. Speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, today we're going to talk about the cops. Yes, that's a very juicy subject for an anarchist, I'm sure. Talking about the police, and in this case, I'm talking about, of course, state police, and very appropriate subject for an anarchist. Yes, indeed, it is. So, some of the notes and that I'm going to be referring to, and I'm just going to be referring on screen to some of my notes that I have here. Actually, I'm just sorting out some thoughts in regards to a chapter that will be in my second book called tentatively titled "The Anarchist at Large." It's a humorous philosophical book, and it's going to be comprised of a bevy of my illustrations and paintings, but primarily it's for people who love to read this book. And it will be my second book, as I say. So, if I refer to notes here and whatnot, pardon me if I'm not entirely speaking to you, my listener, and speaking extemporaneously on the spot. So, but the issue of cops is one that's interesting, of course, and I do tackle the issue in my book, and I'll share some of those thoughts now. Nothing earth shaking, but I do have some insights to offer that might be of benefit to you. So do listen in, and you can be the judge of that, and listen carefully and consider the ideas. Yeah, all of our lives, especially during our younger years, we hear that the police are meant to protect us, right? From the very first kindergarten class visit of officer friendly when he comes to visit, to the very last time we saw a police car with the protect and serve emblemized on the side of the car. We're conditioned to see the police as a sort of selfless service, as selfless guardian angels overlooking society for the protection of life and property, and to see to the general well-being of people, to ensure that law and order is present, and basically just for the benefit and for the overall goodness of and protection of property and individuals. This is the image that's pushed on us. That's the glossary that we get from all types of reinforcing media, from the public schools, from pop culture, to the reinforcing impressions that we get from our fellow human beings. We get this idea pushed on us from all quarters, from all angles. So growing up in whatever society we happen to be growing up in, that's the idea that's pushed on us. The cops are there to protect us. The cops are good. A lot of goodliness here. Seeing to order, seeing to the protection and well-being of the citizens of a given country. That's why you have the cops, you see. And we take it for granted that the police are there to protect us, and that's the whole reason for their existence, right? Wrong. Wrong. The opposite is true. In general, in fact, court decisions and state laws have held that cops don't have to do a damn thing to help you when you're in danger. That's right. The police have zero obligation to protect you. Zero obligation to protect you. And we get all types of bullshit, that we hear, not just from television or from the media or from the public schools. Of course, it's reinforcing by our fellow human beings, as I say, in a given society. Anytime that you hear somebody pipe up and complain about the police, you do get that type of person who says, "Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. If you were stabbed and dying on the street." You'd want a cop then, wouldn't you, Mr. Anarchist? Yeah. Actually, the answer to that is that no, I don't want some fucking tin pot authoritarian with a tin badge hovering over me. I want a fucking ambulance. Call a doctor if that were the case. So quite the opposite. It's, at that point in time, if I'm bleeding on the street because of some crime, cop only deals with the fact, deals with the situation of after the fact of the crime, not crime prevention. And certainly he's not going to do anything for me that a doctor wouldn't be better suited for the purpose. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Now, because the police have no general duty to protect individuals, as a matter of fact, any kind of judicial remedies are not available to ordinary citizens for when police fail to protect. It's tough luck, tough shit, tough titty. Too bad for you, Joe Citizen, John Joe Citizen, John Doe Q Public loser. That's what it comes down to. They have fucking zero obligations to protect you. So if someone is injured, and because they expect it but did not receive police protection, they cannot recover damages by suing. Okay, and like I say, court decisions and state laws have held that cops do not have to do a damn thing to help you when you're in danger. And yet, too many people persist in believing that the police are obligated to protect them, that they're obligated to protect them. Perhaps this is propelled by the glossy television image of good cops smiling and tipping their hats. I don't know. We constantly get this image is one that is very prominent, very strong in the public mind, of course, right? And there's a reason for that. But the fact of the matter is that the state is not there to protect you. The cops are not there to protect you. Many states, in fact, have specifically barred lawsuits against state or local officials for failure to protect by enacting statutes such as California Government's Code Section 821, 845, and 846, which states, in part, listen to this, neither a public entity or a public employee may be sued for failure to provide adequate police protection or service, failure to prevent the commission of crimes, and failure to apprehend criminals. Okay? Tough luck. You pay the taxes, but you're shit out of luck. Look, it is painfully clear that the police cannot be relied upon to protect us. And they have no duty to do so. That's by law. They have absolutely no obligation or duty to protect you. And many libertarians, therefore, argue for the privatization of the police. And as David Friedman wrote, producing laws is not an easier problem than producing cars or food. So if the government is too incompetent to produce cars or food, why do we expect it to do a good job producing the legal system within which you are going to produce the cars and food? Fuck it, absolutely everything. The government turns everything it touches to shit, and that includes protection services, of course. Come on, folks. Come on, connect the dots here. A lot of people tend to think that, you know, there are those people who will complain about politicians. They will complain about the government. You know, they will say, yeah, the government's been hijacked. Yeah, the system is corrupt. The politicians are all crooked. They're all thieves and blah, 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 blah. You hear people who will talk in that vein negatively towards politicians and even the government as a whole. But you still have that type of person who go, but thank God we have the police to protect us. Oh, it's a jungle out there, and boy, the thin blue line, right? You know, but people, holy fuck, man, you got to understand that the police and the state are like this. Can't sunder and separate the two, for Christ's sakes. They go together. They go together. So as it stands now, as a matter of fact, in reality, in the real world, the state is a protection racket, a violently compulsory, illegitimate institution. And the state police are armed and dangerous because the state is dangerous. We cannot count on them for protection. Get used to that. Understand that. Grasp that. And it's useful to recognize, in this case, since I'm on this point, that law enforcement is really not synonymous with security. Let me repeat that. Keep that in mind. It's useful to recognize that law enforcement is not synonymous with security. The problems we find in the institution of the police stem from a basic starting point. Government policies are running the police. Government policies are running the police. The negative incentives that attract dangerous people seeking to become cops, and the lack of consequences for mistakes and abuses of authority, and the low criteria for earning a badge are the consequences of a violently imposed, centralized society, of a government. That's the type of government that you have, a coercive, violent government, as a matter of fact, brings you violent, coercive police. They go together. So, as it stands now, not in the case of private security, but police state, let me emphasize that, police state, cops are nothing but tax collectors. That's all they do. That is their purpose. That is their function. That's why they're there. They are tax collectors. They enforce the law, whatever those laws are. Whatever those laws are. They are the paid mercenaries who are the muscle for the authoritarian decrees of governments and their rulers and their politicians. They're there to serve and protect the politicians, folks. That's why they're there. They are the muscle for the politicians to create. Just in case we have some recalcitrant citizens who might fail to be entirely cooperative in following those political laws, which are designed to protect government officials and their friends. They have the power of the gun. They have the power of law. They have the power of the people who believe in this institution. That's the source of their power. But just in case you come across any recalcitrants or rebels, you have the police there to enforce those laws, to ensure that those politicians live comfortably and remain in power, that the system remains in power. That's what the police are for. When you have a state, you have a police state. The police are there to protect the politicians, the bankers, corporate interests, and other powerful entities. And the great lie, the big lie, is that they're there to protect you. It's pure bullshit. This is Victor Pross signing out, anarchist artist, Pop Goes the Culture.